Hey everyone, doing an update here on the Orange-Line Guppy colony, which is a wild reticulata guppy from Venezuela. Doesn't look a lot like the other wild type guppies that you see for sale on Aquabit or something. You know, those kind of have a lot of turquoise on them, some black spotting in the middle. These basically have a single orange racing stripe down the side. And the males do have some variability in the spots down by the tail, and I think there is some room for kind of selective breeding where you could kind of improve these a little bit, but for the most part, they're really cool looking. The males are very small compared to the females. They're very kind of sleek and slim, and then the females are your standard kind of taupe live bear, kind of bland looking. But the males are very striking. The tank itself, for the most part, I've always had guppy grass in here, so you can see it there. And it's not something that you can necessarily aquascape with. It's just kind of one of those practical fish keeper plants, I think, that if you've got fry, or if you've got a breeding colony that you're not showing off, it's a pretty fabulous plant, but there are times where it just looks like this. I mean, it's not necessarily pretty. It can get nice pink tips up near the top, near the light, and if you've got a kind of a thin layer of it, it does have these cascading roots that kind of just dangle down, and it does look great. But after time, it just fills the entire space. And so you can see I was doing some work yesterday. I threw out half of it from this tank, and sometimes I use it elsewhere, and other times I just put it in the composter. But I basically once a month probably have to thin out my guppy grass. I did put in a Java fern from the Porthole Library colony, and I was a little worried that the super glue might have become brittle, or the plant wouldn't be attached after about 2 months or so to the little saucer that it's on. But no problem. I just pulled that out, gave it a little rinse, put it in here, and it just worked great. And I've kind of covered the bare areas of the saucer with substrate, but there's nothing on the roots themselves, and you can see it there. It's looking fabulous. The other thing that I've got in here is just some red basalt, which is a kind of a hard lava with no air pockets in it. I collected these up by Shasta, which is a volcano in Northern California, and they serve a couple purposes. They're nice for if you're adding water or doing top-offs or something like that. You don't mess up your gravel. The other thing is it provides a kind of a resting platform for the cories when they don't want to be on the gravel itself. And speaking of cories, I've got the Hasbrosis cories. You can see them there. Most of my tanks I've got pygmy cories, but I do have 2 tanks that I've got Hasbrosis. And they're a nice cory, small. They do act more like kind of traditional cories, I think. The pygmy cories are a little different. They like to school up in the midwater a lot of times. They do rest, but they do also school around. These guys often will just be shuffling around the bottom or in the back, kind of doing what they're doing now. The other thing I kind of want to touch on briefly is just the fact that I was shocked yesterday when I was kind of cleaning this tank out and doing a little water change, how many babies I have in this tank. It is unbelievable. This wild type guppy is very prolific. In fact, I was a little shocked at how the level of fecundity of these fish. It was unbelievable. And I think it kind of goes something that you might want to consider if you're keeping live bears. There will come a time when you reach critical mass, and some species seem to have very few fry, or they actually consume some of their own fry. So you don't have to worry about critical overload on your population. But others don't, and they have a lot of fry, and these guys seem to be that way. So if you're someone who doesn't want to just be down there taking fish and haggling with the local fish store or putting stuff on eBay, you're gonna have to decide, what do you do with these, with all your fish. I think some people have some predatory fish. Maybe they keep a predatory cichlid. I'm not ready to go down that path, but I think it does bear just kind of talking out, what are you going to do with all your fish, and what am I going to do with all my fish? I've got live bears in here like crazy. Some of them, I have very few. If I went to the portholes, they're actually a lot slower than people think. And the cardinal brackies self-prune. They eat anyone who's basically not able to hide. So I think that's just something for discussion. If you consider, keeping live bears, whether they're platies or other guppy types, some of the fancy guppies, you're gonna have to figure out, what are you gonna do with your fish. And so as I was working this and I was kind of pulling apart the guppy grass, there were just clouds of fry in there. It was kind of a little scary, a little shocking for me. So anyways, guys, that's an update for you. I hope you enjoy the updates, and we'll have more for you soon. All right, thanks. Bye.